Minecraft's recent shift from the traditional update format to the newly introduced game drops has raised a lot of questions. How often will these new content drops be released? How big will they be? What type of content will they include? And perhaps most importantly, how will they affect the future of Minecraft as a whole? While many of these questions will likely be answered over time with each new game drop, it's worth discussing how this new approach could influence the future of Minecraft updates and the game's overall evolution. Mojang hopes that the game drop system will allow them to update Minecraft more frequently and keep the hype around the game going throughout the year. For those who may not know, as of the time of this video, we've already received 2 game drops, the Armored Paws drop and the Bundles of Bravery drop. The Armored Paws drop was more of a test, while Bundles of Bravery marked the first official game drop. These updates were relatively small, introducing only a few features. However, it's important to note that the Armored Paws was followed by the Tricky Trials update just about a month later, and Bundles of Bravery will be followed up by the Pale Garden drop, which is expected to launch roughly 2 months after its release. The Pale Garden and Creaking drop represents a medium-sized update, showing that these game drops can vary in scale. Some will be smaller, while others will be medium-sized. The real question, however, is whether we'll eventually see large content drops similar to the Nether update. While Mojang has hinted at larger drops being added in the future, it's unclear what exactly they define as large in this new format. Another big question is how often these game drops will come. Based on recent patterns, I expect we'll receive about 4 to 5 game drops per year, likely 2 smaller updates and 2 medium-sized ones. This could vary from year to year though, with some years featuring fewer smaller updates and possibly a larger one alongside of it instead of multiple medium updates. With Minecon set for January, we'll likely get our first official look at the upcoming game drops after the Pale Garden update and what's next for Minecraft then. While more frequent updates sound great, the main concern is how this shift might impact the quality of updates, potentially prioritizing quantity over quality. While drops like Bundles, Dog Armor, and Creaking are interesting, they don't necessarily revolutionize the game in the same way that larger updates like the Village and Pillage, Nether, or Cave updates have. It's important that the aspects of the game that still need improvement aren't neglected. The most prominent example of this is the End. The End remains one of the most underdeveloped areas of the game, and many players are concerned that with the game drop format, we may not see the overhaul it deserves anytime soon. While it's possible Mojang could spread out an End update across multiple game drops, introducing new biomes, structures, or dungeons over several releases, it wouldn't quite have the same impact as a full, cohesive End update being released all at once. However, if Mojang were to release a large-scale update like this, would they still be able to follow the game drop format for the rest of the year? A project of that magnitude would likely require significant resources and time, potentially diverting attention from smaller drops. Game drops are fantastic for keeping the game fresh year-round, but they do have a downside. They often don't change the way you actually play the game. The Pale Garden and Creaking drops are great additions, and I'm all for adding new content, especially when it comes to new building blocks. Minecraft is, after all, a sandbox game, and that kind of content is always perfect. But I believe it's equally important to focus on modernizing and improving the core aspects of the game that haven't received as much attention in recent years. I'm all for adding new content that doesn't disrupt the gameplay loop, but it shouldn't come at the expense of updates that enhance Minecraft's core functionality. Yes, many players want an End update, but it's for a good reason. It's one of the last major areas of the game that really needs a complete overhaul. While other features like minecarts, combat, and enchanting would be nice to see updated, they're not as urgently needed as the End, which in my opinion should be the first priority before expanding to new, unexplored aspects of the game. You know what else should be a priority in my opinion? You hitting that subscribe button as well as leaving a like on this video. It's completely free, helps me out a lot, and ensures you never miss out on another video just like this one. You did it? Great, thanks, back to the video. So really, depending on how frequent these game drops are and what content is introduced with each one, this system could either be a great way to maintain excitement throughout the community or risk killing hype by introducing drops that don't offer enough to keep players engaged. The Pale Garden is a prime example of this dilemma. The mob has an interesting premise, the biome has a beautiful new wood set, and it introduces a really cool resin harvesting mechanic. However, the problem with this biome is that it's relatively rare, and once you visit it once or twice, you've seen basically everything it has to offer. It adds new blocks that are great for building and introduces a unique challenge to obtain those blocks, but it doesn't change how players interact with the game. After a week, players are likely to just lose interest. And just to clarify, I'm not criticizing the Pale Garden as a bad update. I actually like the idea behind it. But if updates like this are the norm, they might not hold players' interest for that long, even if we get them more frequently. The key is balance. Updates need to offer enough depth and enough impact to sustain excitement over time. One major benefit of the game drop system, however, is that it allows developers to work on different tasks that might not fit into a larger full-scale update. For example, King Bee Dogs, the developer behind the Deep Dark, was able to work on that feature independently from the rest of the Wild Update team. If the game drop format allows developers to focus on smaller updates and more specialized projects, we could see more unique and creative content make its way into the game. In fact, Minecraft 1.19 could have greatly benefited from being split into separate game drops, one focused around the Ancient City and the Deep Dark, and another one focused around the Mangrove Forest, if the game drop system had been in place. Similarly, many of the features in 1.20, which felt a bit scattered without a clear focus, could have been released as individual game drops. For example, armor trims could have been introduced in one drop, camels and new blocks in another, and archaeology and sniffers in yet another, and these could have been released over the course of 3 or 4 months, keeping the game constantly fresh. This would allow for a more structured and consistent release schedule, with each drop feeling like a distinct and exciting addition to the game. Game drops are going to play a huge role in the future success of Minecraft, and over time, we'll see whether switching to this format was the right move or not. While there are definitely many positives to the game drop system, the real test would be whether these updates maintain the same high quality and core focus as recent updates, excluding 1.20. Whether these updates end up enhancing the way the game is played or feel like filler content will be a key factor in determining their impact. But what do you think about the new game drop system? Do you prefer it over the old system? Why or why not? I would love to continue this conversation, so leave any thoughts you have down in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, just a reminder that a like is greatly appreciated, as well as subscribing. It helps me out quite a bit, and it's completely free, and make sure you never miss out on another video just like this one. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.